Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Austin Fast Start Creative Small Business Pitch Competition, coming to you from a weird walled-in box because I don't have anything to help with this echoing sound, so I apologize in advance. My name is Ashlyn Viscosi. I am delighted to be your MC tonight. The reason I'm here is I founded a company called Creatives Meet Business, where we help artists and creatives with entrepreneurship, and I was a board member of Austin Young Chamber of Commerce. So, today's virtual Austin Fast Start is a reoccurring pitch competition designed to support Austin's early entrepreneurs and startups. The event is a partnership between the City of Austin's Small Business Program and the Austin Young Chamber. The Austin Young Chamber is focused on developing young professionals to be dynamic business and community leaders. We are dedicated to providing opportunities for you to connect and engage around topics that are relevant, meaningful, and transformative. We run many programs throughout the year that promote business and talent development, entrepreneurship, civic engagement, and community growth. In fact, over 50 programs annually. We encourage you to hop on the Austin Young Chamber website at austinyc.org. So Austin, like the city, you all know that one, yc.org, to learn more about becoming a member and engaging with us throughout the year. I want to take a moment to thank our event sponsors, Texas McCombs MBA and Texas McCombs MSTC. And at this time, I would like to invite Christy Jenkins with Texas McCombs MBA to come share a few words about their programs.
Thank you. Let me see if my camera is working. Perfect. Good. Well, thank you, Ashlyn. First of all, I want to thank the Austin Young Chamber for inviting me to speak with you all briefly today. As you said, my name is Christy Jenkins, and I'm the Senior Recruiting and Admissions Officer for the Texas McCombs Evening MBA program. And I'm also here representing my colleagues in the Masters of Science Technology Commercialization program, or MSTC for short. As the name implies, an MS in technology commercialization is all about bringing a tech product to market. It's a 13-month program that runs from May to May, and it's offered either in person or online. So basically, you can think of a MSTC as teaching you how to start a tech company, and then the MBA will teach you how to run it. The Evening MBA has a general management curriculum. We find that the best leaders, managers, and future CEOs need to understand every aspect of how a company runs, from accounting and finance to marketing, operations and logistics, data analytics, etc., and also understand how all those things interrelate. The Evening MBA program is designed for working professionals. So classes are on Monday and Tuesday evenings from 6 to 9:15 p.m. And the program runs just over 2 years, 28 months total. So we're nearing the end of our round 3 deadline, which is coming up on August 24th. And then our round 4 and final deadline will be on October 26th. And that's for our next class, which will begin in January. The best way to learn about our program and get a sense of our culture is to attend one of our virtual events. I'm hosting a virtual info session all about the Evening MBA tomorrow, August 17th at 5 o'clock on Zoom. I'll go over the admissions process. You'll hear from career services about outcomes and ROIs, and also a student panel so you can talk directly with our current students. We also have a variety of small group chats and other events coming up as well. And you can sign up for all of those at texasmbaevents.com. And with that said, thank you guys for the time tonight, and good luck to everyone pitching.
Thank you, Chris. So for our social media viewers, be sure to comment and share tonight's program with your own networks to support the startups pitching tonight and help spread awareness of their amazing businesses. For those here in Remo, I'm still not sure quite how to say it, so apologies, with us, let's be encouraging to our pitchers today and let them know we're here. It is so hard to pitch, and it's really hard to pitch virtually, so give them all of the emoji love that you possibly can. Show your support in the chat. Fire emojis, +1, thumbs up, be creative, do the applause, do whatever you want, but get those emojis flying. Please remember to be nice and respectful, though. I don't think there are any harsh emojis, but if there are, just don't use them. Now, a little bit about how we got here today. From January through July, the Austin Young Chamber accepted applications from local creative-based startups. You can even see creatives. See it on my wall? It's important. Okay. Arts, culture, and creativity are essential elements to Austin's unique and distinctive identity. See, I have it on a wall. I didn't just do it for this event. I already lived up there. Creative businesses include those that are turning their creative talents into successful and sustainable business ventures. This topic encompasses a broad, very broad, range of creatives in the Austin ecosystem, such as musicians, artists, photographers, and artisans. The applications received were scored by 4 judges representing the small business, startup, creative, and investor communities. From that scoring process, we determined our top 4 finalists, say that 3 times fast, who are pitching tonight. Now, it is my extreme pleasure to introduce you to our judges. Judges, when I introduce you, please turn on your camera and give us a polite wave. You can do a golf wave. You can do whatever kind of wave that you would like to do. All right, up first, we have Greg Carter, Director of Technology Practice at Solemn Consulting, member of Black Fret, and Startup Advisor. There's Greg. Yay, and he waved too. Perfect. Up next, we have Fabi Humschmidt. She is the Chief Operating Officer and co-founder at Marquez. Fabi, there she is. Okay, and Sophia Javahari, who has just gotten a fantastic promotion. So what you see on the screen is actually not even remotely true or representative of her current job title, which is now Associate Director of Program Operations. Give her some fire, give her some love on that one. That's amazing. Yay, promotion. She got it 30 seconds ago, so it's very, very fresh. And last but certainly not least, we have Adi Pavlovich, who is the entrepreneur in residence at Modern Ventures. Adi, show us your face. Where are you at, bud? Maybe he'll turn on his camera. Maybe he won't. There he is. He's laughing. He's there. He's smiling. So he's there. It's here. Okay. Thank you, judges, for that. I'm sorry. I get a little silly sometimes. For your time and expertise in the application process. Okay. Got a small drum roll here. Brrr. Tonight, each finalist will have 5 minutes to make their pitch, followed by 8 minutes of Q&A with our judges and you, the audience. Finalists, remember to keep your eye on the clock, because if you don't, we will. We have control of your AV. Shouldn't be nearly as maniacal as it sounds. To our audiences in Remo, if you would like to submit a question to a finalist for the Q&A session, you can enter it into the Q&A tool on the right of your screen. And tonight's winner will be determined by a combined judges score and audience vote. Judges will score each finalist to account for 80% of their score. The audience vote accounts for the remaining 20%. After all 4 finalists have pitched this evening, we will display a text-to-vote number for attendees to cast their vote for the best pitch. So pay attention, keep your notes, and keep your cell phone around, especially toward the end, so you can do your voting. Okay. Oh yeah, sorry. And please note, we had a last-minute finalist change. Our 4 finalists pitching this evening are Rough Cut Comedy, Unravel Hair, Uni Streaming, and Workwear Workshop. So now, let's get started. Our first finalist is Rough Cut Comedy, and we have CEO Marty Clark. I will eventually leave if I don't click the wrong button repeatedly, and I am leaving now.
Get this all set up here. Okay. This thing. All right. All right. Hello, everybody. Like you said, I am Marty Clark. I'm going to be talking to you about Rough Cut Comedy today. So Rough Cut Comedy, what we do is we produce high quality comedy shows all across Austin and Texas, and we are entering our phase 2 of our expansion, where we are adding on shows, a lot more shows, and then we're adding on our digital network for sketches as well as podcasts. What we're trying to fix here, there's 2 issues that are going on right now in Austin comedy. Number 1 is the decentralization of production. Anyone and anyone can go into a bar or restaurant and pitch a show and try to do a show there. What that leads to is bad, poor quality shows, because people lack the knowledge of production, promotion, and booking. Shows that have started up since the pandemic have gone under, whereas Rough Cut shows, we have had 0 shows that have failed, which is great. Rough Cut is synonymous with high quality shows. So let me go back there, sorry. And then the COVID protocols, that's the other issue that's happening right now. As you know, the numbers are on the rise. So festivals and arenas are shutting down already or implementing protocols. But other than essential businesses, bars and restaurants will be the last to shut down. And so I started Rough Cut and built up all of our shows at the peak of the pandemic, went from 0 shows to 32 shows in 3 months. And that gives me a unique knowledge of how to use the safety protocols and do shows during the pandemic. Let's talk about the solution, which is Rough Cut. So other than centralizing the show umbrella, which has proven to work great, and working within the COVID guidelines, there's two things that we want to address. Number one is Austin is, as you know, one of the fastest growing cities in the US, especially in the entertainment industry. We are the new entertainment hub along the lines of New York and LA. We had Joe Rogan move in here, as well as a whole bunch of other comics and big names follow from New York and LA. And then we were going from 2 comedy clubs pre-COVID to the number I just heard is we're going to have 7 by the end of the winter. So it shows there really is a void and a demand for comedy here in Austin. And then the other one is Rough Cut. The knowledge of the scene and the performers. I run the biggest open mic in Texas. I know pretty much every single open micer in town and every performer. My connection with venues, comics, liquor reps, sponsors, and our showrunner model that I'll talk about in a bit here leads us to be in a position to run the best shows and blow up right now. Who we are, let's talk about numbers. So right now we have 52 shows in 11 venues in the month of August. In July, we had 223 comics perform, and we are entering our phase 2 of expansion, meaning we're going to above this, but 70 shows in over 20 venues by October. What this is, such as our festival or our digital network with our podcast network. Let's talk about the team. Avinash Patel, he does our accounting, finances, business. That's his background. He focuses on that, tracking our marketing. Myself, I am a comedian for 9 years, been producing shows for 8. I've started 2 different comedy clubs. I have 12 years plus in the service industry, as well as I went to college. My focus was entrepreneurship at the University of Wisconsin. I started 6 businesses while there, as well as I was a CFO of EatStreet.com, which is just like Grubhub. And Michael Johnson is the marketing guru, where I do boots on the ground marketing. He is a web marketing guru. He has blown up tours across the nation. He's taken Tim Dillon's podcast from a couple hundred listens to over 100,000 in less than a month. And he's the one who blew up Gas Digital, which is a podcast company out of New York. Let's talk about the competition. So I really don't see comedy clubs as direct competition, to be honest. Comedy clubs are usually $20, $25 tickets for big headliners that are coming in for the weekend that they're flying in. Whereas we focus locally, not only on local comedians and artists, we focus on local restaurants and bars, as well as local sponsors. So we are very Austin oriented, and ours are mostly free shows. So we try to not, we are not in competition with them. We're not going to be putting on huge shows like that with 400 people, which might get shut down. And the other indie shows, as I said, they're decentralized. Anybody can go to a restaurant and pitch them, and that's why most shows end up failing that are not Rough Cut shows. This is currently a list of the 11 venues we're running as of today. The other ones over there on the right are the ones I'm negotiating with, which leads us up to 26 by the end of October. And then this is the fun part, the revenue model. So our ticket sales. I talked about our showrunner contract. So each showrunner, they go under the guidelines of Rough Cut that we have developed through my almost 10 years of running shows now. And so they can use our guidelines and our tools, but then each showrunner has the autonomy to make sure that show goes well. So we get to utilize them while using our guidelines. Sponsors, we already have 1 sponsor, as you can see on the right there, that CBD company. For right now, we're gonna have 3 lined up for September. And ideally, I wanna get 3 per venue. What's great is we have our sponsors are per show, like per show/venue. So I can get different ones for each individual show, and they're only month-long contracts. So as we grow, I can up that price and help out with the sponsors and then build in more into the promotion. Merchandise, self-explanatory. And the podcast advertising, that's the big one. That is, for right now, the industry standard for 100,000 views, it would be $3,600 per episode. And that is straight from Michael, from his mouth. He is very excited to have that work for us. And then these are just financials of the show. We have always been profitable. We have not lost any money yet. And really, we just want to expand quicker and more sustainably. But that's been my presentation. Thank you guys so much.
My microphone just did not want to come on. Thank you for wrapping up perfectly when you saw that time cue instead of me having to do the proverbial, well, yeah. Thanks, Marty.
No problem.
Beautifully done. Fascinating business model. I'm sure the judges have all kinds of questions for you. In fact, if they want to turn on their cameras and their mics now, it'd be a great time to start doing some Q&A. There you guys are. Oh, good. Well, Greg, since I saw you first, I'm going to go ahead and ask you to see if you have any questions.
All right. Hey, Marty, good to meet you. Enjoyed listening to your pitch. And I understand why you say that the comedy clubs are not competition for your business model. It seems pretty unique. Question is, maybe a 2-part question, are there any other businesses like yours in Austin? Or are you kind of creating something in white space where you're consolidating? And then secondly, are there similar models in other cities that you're emulating that have been proven to be successful?
Sure. So to answer your first question, Not even close to the scale that we're on. There's a couple other smaller production umbrella companies that will have maybe 2 or 3 shows in a month. Like I can name a couple of them, like Cheesecake Comedy, and then there's another one. Oh man, I can't remember the name, but they're only on like 2 or 3 shows, not anywhere near the scaling that I just did to with Rough Cut. I did this, and so to answer kind of into your second question, I did this back in Madison, Wisconsin. So when I started, there was only about 1 monthly show in Madison, and there was 1 weekly open mic. And then I realized comics needed more stage time to get better, and I wanted to support the arts, so I just started starting shows, and that's why through trial and error, I figured out how to produce good shows. And like I said, our bread and butter at Rough Cut is free shows. We want to support the local artists and then the developing artists rather. But
then there's companies like
they
run like the bulking and then
a couple other rooms in San Antonio, but they're more focused, although they don't have a brick and mortar club, so they're kind of in my realm. They're way more focused on getting big headliners to come in, flying them in. They're not doing local shows to support the local arts. That's what I realize helps out a lot, is because I want to support Austin businesses, Austin artists, and Austin venues.
Great, thanks.
What about you, Fabi? You have anything?
Yeah, Mark, congrats. This is a great business. I wanted to ask you, why comedy?
Good question. I went to the University of Wisconsin, and I was doing finance and accounting, and I was always the guy who kind of I do stand up too as well. So I host a lot of my shows, but I was always kind of the funny guy who would like lead a lot of the the parties and the fun activities that we did in college. So my friends just kind of talked me into going to Comedy on State, which is in Madison, for an open mic, and I went up one time on stage, and I immediately and I realized I could kind of mix all of my different facets of my life, because I've worked in restaurants and bars. I've been the GM of multiple restaurants and bars, so I know that scene. I know the production from 8 or 9 years of producing indie shows. I know how to be a comedian since I've been the whole time, and I also know startups from my past with startups. So it all kind of came together. And doing comedy, that's kind of fit. I'm not really sure. I kind of just fell into it. I love it.
Passion goes a long way. Thanks, Mark.
Sophia, do you happen to have any questions?
Yes, excellent pitch. I can't wait to get back to a comedy show. My question is also kind of twofold in terms to recruitment of your showrunners, which are also the performers. How are you doing that? And is there going to be any intentionality in the demographics of who you're recruiting, such as, the very minimal female comedians, for example?
Sure. Yeah. So it's I'm very, so to be fair, so right now I have a list of about 15 comics right now in town that want to be show producers, and I'm very specific with which ones I let, because a lot of these shows, like I said, Rough Cut has a reputation and is synonymous with high quality shows. We put on good shows. We don't put on flops. And so, I'm very specific. I put them through all of them, but I need to see them. I'll have them host one of my other shows to make sure they can do that. I'll bring them with me on a meeting to go talk to the venue, so I know that they aren't gonna hurt my venue relations. But yeah, I'm very specific with it. It's kind of tough. And then to answer your second question, I'm very aware of the lack of diversity in stand-up comedy. It's pretty much all straight white males, which is annoying. So I try to address that in all of my shows, not only with who I book, but who I work with. And so I actually back in Madison, Wisconsin, I was actually nominated for an LGBTQ support award for my events, because I put on so many of those artists. And so in terms of showrunners too, yes, I don't want to have the same feel. I like each show to have a personality. That's why I like, instead of me running all of the shows, I want each comic to feel that responsibility and feel that ownership over their specific shows. And I want a wide range of shows. That's why I like running shows with different groups of comics and different demographics.
Thank you so much.
So judges, I have learned having so many of you on when you're not speaking is causing some weird technical glitches. So can all the judges except for Audie sadly turn off your camera for now? My bad. Audie, that leaves you though. What kind of question you got?
Yeah, Marty, huge stand-up fan. I actually did stand up for a couple years out of college, so this resonates with me. I'd love to understand kind of what your addressable market is. You mentioned you produce high-quality shows. How many high-quality shows can you fit in the city of Austin, right, per night? So I'd love to just understand, without spreading yourself too thin, what do you think is your addressable market within the city of Austin? And I know you mentioned you were kind of focused on Texas. I'd love to understand your expansion strategy and how you're looking at other metros.
Sure. So Austin specifically, I think it's really just shown by all the different clubs moving in here and all the comics and all, like, even like the big names like Joe Rogan. It's shown that, I mean, Austin was already a hugely growing city, but now it already is an entertainment hub of the US. I mean, even just the big name comedians, even just actually tonight, I have this Gianmarco Ceresi, New York.
Amazon Prime, and
He's just coming to town to do some shows, and he's going to do 2 of my free shows tonight, which is amazing. But in terms of, sorry, I lost my train of thought. What was your question about Austin specifically?
How many shows can you do in the city of Austin without harming the quality of the shows?
Right. Yep. So that's where my showrunner model comes from. So I have a 7-page showrunner agreement, which lays out exactly what they have to do, the guidelines. I put them, depending on the showrunner, they have 1 to 3 months of a probationary period, which is, like I said, everyone's beating down the door to be a part of Rough Cut and run it under our umbrella because it is successful. But so there's a lot of people that want to be a part of it. But for me to give them the autonomy to run their shows, I need to be able to trust them, which is tough. And so that's why I built up this model, because I was running all of the shows by myself. So about in December, I think it was 32, but it might have been closer to 35 shows. In that month, I ran every single show. I hosted them, booked them, promoted them, produced them. That ended up being our bottleneck, was me physically. Like, I can't be at all the shows and do all that. And so then that's how I came up with the showrunner agreement, which is, like I said, it gives them the ownership to be able to run their shows. But then with with like Avi, our business side, he built up a tracker. So then we'll know each venue, how each venue is performing, where we have to put our promotion towards, what we have to focus on. Like, for example, I have a showrunner right now that's running a show at Firehouse Hostel, and the show wasn't up to par for Rough Cut. And so I went to him, and he's been running it for a couple months, and I said, hey, that show wasn't great, so I'm just gonna, here's the deal, is I want you to keep running the show, this is your show, but we need to right the ship here. So I'm gonna take over with you, and together we're gonna book the show, produce it, and promote it. I'm gonna show you the tools I use and how I do it, and then from there, once, I'll let you do it for a week by yourself, and then once I feel comfortable again, then I step away. And so I think by using that showrunner agreement, that helps to be able to to fix that bottleneck that was me. And in terms of expanding out to other cities, I have performed in most cities in Texas already, and so I already know most of the showrunners. So there's these showrunners out of San Antonio called Claws Out Comedy. They run, I'd say, probably about 6 weekly shows. I know them really well. In fact, we are talking about not necessarily merging with them. We were talking about enveloping them in San Antonio. And then there's this other company in Dallas, same thing. They have less shows. They only run about 3 weekly shows. But I've been talking to them about enveloping them. I just have to keep meeting with the guy who's in charge of that to make sure that, again, we will keep the Rough Cut shows at high quality, because it just takes one show to be bad for people to lose their interest in Rough Cut. And like I said, we're the only people in town that have no shows that have gone under, which is crazy.
So sadly,
Thank
I
you.
am going to have to bid you adieu, Marty, as we proceed along. But Mary and I are both very interested in if you do things on local breweries, because I think we're probably going to go and visit you soon.
Yeah,
However,
definitely. Well, thank you all so much for your time. I appreciate you. Thank you.
Thank you, Marty. Thank you so much to Rough Cut Comedy. Now, up next, we have Unravel Hair with Zambria Asante. She is the CEO and founder. I'm going to wait till she hops on here before I just exit. All right,
Hello.
Zambria, I'll let you take it away.
Great, sounds good. All right. Good evening, everyone. My name is Zambria Asante, and I am excited to present to y'all today Unravel Hair. Since the dawn of time, braids have been widely worn by Black women as a fun, easy, and low-maintenance protective hairstyle. From the first recorded sighting of braids that dates all the way back to 3500 BC to now, the process of taking down braids has not changed. Regardless of one's socioeconomic status, everyone has to unravel their braids the same way, manually and by hand. Until now. Unravel aims to help Black women who wear braids take down their braids 2 times quicker and 17 times cheaper by using an automated device to unravel braids. I've been wearing braids for over 18 years, and during this time, I spent over 648 hours having someone unravel, take down the braids myself. That's over 6 times the amount of time it takes individuals with straight hair to get a haircut or take their extensions out. And the manual process is not only takes hours to complete, but it's also costly. It costs over $38,880 to have someone unravel my braids over these past 18 years. Convenience also plays a major role in the takedown process. From my customer discovery interviews, over 90% of Black women said they take their braids down at home because it's convenient, especially during the pandemic. But there are currently 0 alternatives to manually taking braids down at your convenience in a faster and more affordable way until Unravel. Made up of mechanisms that will safely unravel the braids from the bottom all the way up to the top until the whole braid is unraveled. The material used for the inside will be safe for all hair textures, and the mechanisms within the device will also have a fail-safe feature. And all of the unraveling is done with the push of a button. Braids are widely worn amongst the 22 million Black women in America. So Black women are my initial target audience. And there's an additional 33 million people within other demographics that also wear braids. Based on feedback from my customer interviews, Black women view protective styles such as braids as an investment of time and money for their busy lifestyles. So I will specifically market to women who are constantly multitasking. The biggest priorities for consumers are saving time, saving money, and convenience. Customer discovery has shown that on average, it takes 3 hours for people to unravel their braids each time. The Unravel device is battery operated, which allows for customers to take their braids down safely and efficiently at their own convenience. There's a huge lack of technological innovation in the natural hair care industry that caters specifically to Black women, and that's shocking since the global hair care industry is a $92 billion market. And although Black women make up less than 13% of the population of America, Black women lead in consumer spending within the ethnic hair care market, which totals to a $2.4 billion industry. I'm the founder and CEO of Unravel, and the idea of Unravel was inspired by not only my own personal story, but also through hearing my friends and colleagues in college go through the same problem as me. Throughout college, I saw an increase in automation of our day-to-day tasks to make our lives easier. So I thought of the idea to integrate robotics and automation in the hair care industry to make Black women's lives easier as well. Earlier this year, I won the 3rd largest collegiate venture competition, and currently I'm leading the business operations and strategy for the company. And as y'all can see, I've recruited a talented and experienced advisory board to help guide me in building the Unravel device. Unravel is entering a market that has a very high demand for streamlining and automating monotonous tasks. So the Unravel device will be sold mainly straight to consumers through e-commerce channels. And we also plan to test our product with salon braids back. Currently, I'm doing customer discovery with hairstylists and Black women across the country to learn more about our potential customers' needs, their hair care routines, and their buying habits. So far, I've been able to reach over 300 potential customers. And by the end of this month, I'll be working with the local university's mechanical engineering team to help build and design the prototype. The cash prize will help us with carrying out the completion of building the prototype. From the year 2005 to 2021, I've lost well over 600 hours taking down my braids. That's time I will never get back. This process still has not changed in the year 2021, and I, along with millions of Black women, are spending time and money on a process that can be automated through robotics. Austin is home to such a diverse group of people that think outside of the box and are at the forefront of innovation. So the goal for Unravel here is to not only meet a big demand with the innovative solution within a growing market, but we also aim to inspire and empower Black little girls, young Black ladies, and Black women to enter the robotics market and enter the natural hair care industry with their innovative ideas. This concludes my presentation. Thank you.
And they're so finicky and fickle. Thank you so much. It's incredible. In 600 hours, I am just, can't imagine that one. All right.
Yeah.
So judges, I'm sure that you have so many questions, but to stem off what I did earlier with a little technological mess up, I'm just going to call you one by one. So Fabi, how about you come on up here and join us with the question?
Suzanne, congratulations. This is amazing business. I've been fascinated and learning a lot by you. So congratulations. One of the questions that I had is regarding to marketing. And if you could choose 3 partners out there that you think they could really help you jump boost your business, who are they and how would you get them to work with you to distribute your product?
You're asking if I can choose partners out there? So like what market
Say
strategy?
three partners, organizations that would really help you unlock your product, bring it out there, and how would you go about working with them? So how do you
Yeah.
convince them to work with you?
Yeah. So for this kind of industry, so like I mentioned in the customer interviews, a lot of the Black women that I spoke with, they take their braids down at home. So we're looking more of a like a straight to consumer. So marketing through advertising, social media, and things like that. For organizations in the local area, I've definitely looked at Black Moms Rock, a lot of organizations that have Black moms in there that have children that are wearing braids, and they're wearing braids as a convenience style. Because as I mentioned, it's for a busy lifestyle. So I think that those partnerships are more important to get the word out there and to get to the area and to other Black women who wear braids. I also think it's important to just test out the initial like product with salon braiders. That's a big area where Black women go to get their braids done. Small percentage, but some people take their braids down in the salon as well. So to see that the product is working, get that feedback from braiders, and then also potentially have a way of selling through their salons as well to get the word out there.
How would you convince them to work with you? Just very quick.
Yeah, I think it's based on just what we're doing with the prototype. So how much time that they're able to save with using the product itself, and then what it's able to do for in the future, especially when we're looking at braiders in the salons. If you're able to have somebody come into your salon, take their braids down in a quicker time, but you're still getting the same amount of money, then that's a return of investment on using the product itself. Same thing with using with organizations and other areas. It's just the saving the time. That's the aspect, the value proposition there would be a great, I think, lean in for people to try the product. Thank you.
Thank you, Phoebe. And Sophia, what questions might you have? Sophia.
Hello. Really interesting product. See it in action. My question is about the types of braids that it can unravel. I don't know too much about hair, but I do know that there are tons of different types of braids, rope braids, box braids. Are those weaved in the same way that it could unravel the same way? Or is that something that this product would have kind of different settings for?
Yeah, no, great question. So specifically, we're looking at 3 interlaced strands of hair. So we're looking at just braids. Of course, that can include knotless braids, as that is, the popular. But I think that's actually for an expansion of products of looking at how to unravel, locks or twists or other styles of braiding. But from my customer interviews, braids are just the most popular protective style. So that's the style I want to try to unravel first.
Okay, very, very cool. Thank you.
Adi, what questions might you have for Zambria? Zambria. Did I say it wrong again? Zambria.
Yeah, Zambria. You got it.
Yeah. And I second guess myself every time. Adi.
Hey, Zambria, love this concept. Help me understand where you are in building the prototype and how much you anticipate this product will cost to make and how much you could sell it for, et cetera.
Yeah, so we're in the beginning stages of working with the local university mechanical engineering team. So we have somewhat of a sketch or a design, but we're working on building the prototype over the next couple of months. And so we're looking to be able to around $31. This is a forecast of what we could foresee with how much it will cost to actually build the product. And then I just looked at some of the tools and the premium hair care tools within the same industry and how much they typically cost. And that's anywhere from $110 to like $130. So we're looking at $125 to sell the product. But again, this is a forecast.
Yeah, this is great. And thanks for showing the numbers.
Yeah, of course. Thank you.
All right, Greg. Any final questions from you, Greg? And audience, if you have any questions, feel free to write something in. And if we've got time, we will get to it.
Hi, Zandria. Great pitch. I was really impressed even in the first read of your business plan. You put a lot of thought into kind of all facets of the business, which I think is fantastic. The one area that I didn't find in the plan, and maybe it's based on the stage that you're at right now. I understand that you would be using the award to fund the development of a prototype, but what are the early stage design ideas or even sort of manual prototyping that you've done with the mechanical engineering team, just to understand the viability even before sinking the money into developing a prototype?
Yeah, so we're basically, well, I have IP protection around it, but basically we're trying to emit the manual process of taking down braids. So how are we unraveling the braids as is with our hands? Are there any tools like a rat tail comb? And we're kind of just sketching out the design of what that could look like within a handheld device itself. So those are kind of the areas that we're in right now. And then as we continue to move to designing and doing more renderings, we want to, I guess, bring to life whatever that sketch is and see how it can actually be used within the inside with the different mechanisms that I talked about earlier. But yeah, so we're definitely still in the earlier stages for designing and prototyping, but that's what we've done so far.
Okay, great, thanks.
Yeah, thank you.
Okay, audience, I've seen a lot of lovely compliments, but I don't see any questions. I'm going to give you about 10 seconds, and if one comes, then I will ask it, but otherwise, we will say our thank yous and bid you temporarily adieu. Oh, we do have time for it, but I see no question. Oh, we do have a question. Haha. Okay, first of all, this comes from Jonette Aird. Hopefully I said that right. Is this prototype patent protected? I think, if not, you should really look into filing a US patent for this. 2, I recommend once this goes to market, do some collaboration with Conair. So the question was, is it patent protected?
Yes, we have a provisional patent on the prototype itself right now.
Nice.
Yes.
And have you thought about doing any sort of collaboration with Conair?
I've looked at different companies that are kind of within the hair care tool industry, but no specific about collaborating with right now. We're just kind of looking at influencers to collaborate with that are actually wearing braids and represent kind of what Unravel Hair is trying to put out there, just innovating the natural hair care industry. So looking more to the Black-owned hair care industry and hair care companies for collaboration, if anything.
That's awesome. Have you ever connected with Naturally Curly?
I haven't. If you have the plug, that would be great.
All right, you're getting a lot of kudos, but I don't see any other questions. So seeing no questions, we're going to go ahead and say thank you so much, Zambria. It was fantastic.
Thank you.
Okay, and up next, that was Zambria with Unravel Hair. Up next, we have Uni Streaming, and this is going to be a twofer. We have Brenna D'Amata and Canon Outlaw, our co-founders. Give them a second to come on up here, and I will back away quiet.
Cool. Thank you so much. How are you guys doing today?
Yes, and just thank you for all the great companies that have presented so far. We look forward to hearing the rest. Okay.
Ready?
Yeah. All right, so I'm Brenna.
And I'm Canon, and we are Uni.
So the question we want to ask today is, what is the future for independent musicians? I've heard the starving artist narrative since I was a child, and I'm sure you have too. It's as if we're taught that the creativity holds less value than you fill in the blank. Streaming music has brought many new horizons, but the work is far from over. Independent musicians are unrecognized with no opportunity for exposure, underpaid at pennies to the dollar, and misled with no artist development.
What is the solution if you're curious? It is Uni, streaming for independent musicians.
So the question then is how and also why haven't other platforms done this yet? It's simple, no licensing deals. The way that it works now is in order for a streaming platform to play someone like, say, Michael Jackson, they had to sign contracts with major labels. These contracts cut into the platform's revenue and inevitably taking money away from the bottom tier independent musicians.
Mm-hmm. If you refer to the left, you'll see that Uni has completely removed the middleman, freeing up 60% of our revenue to be distributed to the ones who provide the content on the platforms. Following that, we don't allow payola. We do no paid promos. So as you mentioned, these contracts come with a slew of regulations, including basically labels paying huge amounts of money to push the artist that they so choose. Uni is designed specifically for just engagement. We want to emphasize importance and the artist connection more than we have before. The search functionality, it's a unique system It's designed to promote fan engagement and enhance the user experience throughout the journey of the app. I mean, we want to provide little identities there, similar to by your mood and your birth element, which the birth element would give you a slight assimilation to the artist you're listening to, and vice versa.
Yeah, it's just a really cool way to discover. We want to give that to our users. Now we're bringing ourselves to our market strategy, which is a really big part of Uni and our community building. This on-foot market strategy will consist of 9 or more different cities, us spending 2 or 3 days in each city. Each day will be reserved for a specific task. For example, the first day, say we rent out a studio and all the local musicians in the area can come and create freely and continue building that community aspect. The following days we'll devote to community engagement, us physically going out into the community, visiting local businesses,
shops, and artisans of various sorts in Austin.
And with this strategy, we'll solidify existing connections that we've already made, create referral loops across the U.S., and ultimately decreasing our customer acquisition. Meeting with local brands, artists outside the music scene will promote a wide audience for Uni, and who better to support local than local businesses.
Mm-hmm.
And for documentation and content creation purposes, we'll hire a local photographer and videographer per city. Again, another opportunity to include the public and promote local independence, social presence, and community.
And as far as our ad strategy, there will be local and broadband. For the broadband exposure ads, we'll be running in all 9 cities throughout the duration of our traveling.
Mm-hmm.
As far as the region-specific ads, they'll be initiated per arrival, and some, of course, foreseen. But this will draw in the crowd for the first day studio sessions to kind of kick every city off. Before leaving for the trip, we'll have the web app ready for the mobile version to accept subscriptions and listeners, just pre-data, and similar to the pre-internet techniques, kind of like the olden days.
Mm-hmm.
We'll be doing in-person, face-to-face, just marketing and going to the city and touching the people in general.
Yeah. So we want to move now to our roadmap. Up until now, Cannon and I have actually been traveling across the U.S. from North Carolina to California for the past year, and over that time we've met many great musicians like Mike Dean and advisors like Raymond McGlamory, who's actually here now. And they've all taught us a lot about the potential of Uni and just the essence of Uni overall. And we've designed our first version of Uni. We've built the wireframe and also have created the business structure.
Mm-hmm.
With the Austin Young Chamber of Award Phase 1, this will help initiate our in-house studio as well as fund marketing for our Kickstarter campaign in November. The studio will be twofold purpose, income for the business, as well as beginning to promote Uni in person with the local musicians, again, creating that community.
Just building the hub in Austin as a blueprint for what we plan.
And then Phase 2.
As we approach the Kickstarter launch, our on-foot outreach will be, as you said, going to local musicians, events, and just businesses in general, just trying to make community synonymous with creation, and just as we all seek within the past year and a half, I'm sure. For Phase 3, the Kickstarter program will be running in November, which it'll kind of all chain of events, Austin Young funnel to the Kickstarter and Kickstarter to Launchpeer, which is a company which allows you to retain your ownership over all of your creation, and you just get assistance, and they help you develop your site and your vision, and help you kind of set you on to your first sellable product and get you into the market. As far as the final round, we'll begin to take Uni to the first round of our market strategy and begin traveling, and then this brings us to our team. I just want to shout out Raymond McGlamory. Like she said, he's in the crowd today. He just kind of led us, and kind of assisted us in just understanding the scope of what the industry is for our business.
Yeah.
Okay, Brenna and Cannon, sadly,
Actually,
that will be the end of the pitch competition. You have run out of time.
Oh, I'm sorry.
cool with
We
that.
disconnected
Ooh,
audio.
this is very meta. Okay,
Yes,
awesome. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and get some questions from judges going. Sophia, what do you got for Brenna and Cannon here?
Hello. Very for a new platform, and it's so great to see local community being built back up again. My question to you is, as the user, what is, aside from that good feeling of supporting local, what is the draw for me to download another app and listen to music outside of Spotify?
Yeah,
Right.
absolutely. So again, that comes to our marketing strategy, and really it's about our user the community that we build around each specific user, and like having that fan connection to the artist, as well as when we bring one artist to the platform, we're bringing their fans with them. And then it's also, aside from just that community aspect, bringing in new features like that search functionality, allowing to discover per region and just connecting your roots back into where you come from.
And it's all timing as well. I think that's the most important thing about any business is the timing. And right now, through us being shut inside and kind of now getting this taste of exposure and taste of being able to be out and having venues, and Austin, all the venues are coming back, and it's just the idea that we're open and we're here and we want to support what has been closed in and what has been shut out. And throughout this past year and a half, that's the main thing, is that independent musicians have struggled severely just due to the market not being catered to them. They weren't prepared for being out of business and being out of small. They couldn't even sustain groceries off of their little venues. So same thing with their intellectual property. We just want to bank it so that they can sustain off of their creation and not have to just rely on the labor work that comes out of it, traveling and touring or promoting.
And it's about focusing on that characteristic of the person who is willing to go out of their way to discover that artist. And there's so many people out there like that just haven't been.
The awareness is expanded, severely.
Yeah, two things, not questions. One, I wrote on my note, big heart next to element and mood feature. Love that. And then two is definitely let me know when you guys do come to Austin for that, because it sounds like a great time. Thank you.
Oh, yeah.
We'll be there in September.
Yes. Thank you.
All right, Adi. Yeah, I love that. You knew I was going to call upon you. It's like it was planned or something. What's your question?
Yeah. Hey, guys, this is a wicked problem. So major kudos for attacking this head on. I really like the concept. I'd love to understand a little bit more of how you're going to allow the musicians to upload their music to the platform, but also make sure that it's high quality.
Yes. So
there's various companies already out there, just digital distribution platforms. We've been in talks with many of them. Just
CD Baby being one.
Yeah, TuneCore, local. Just there's some local smaller channel ones, but they have an analyzer. Basically, the database that professional platforms like Apple and Spotify would use. They use these same distribution platforms, right? So it's just the main key factor is we want to do something that's left field for the industry, but we want to play in the same field. You know what I'm saying? We want to fight the same. So yeah, just quite literally the same way that other platforms do. You just distribute on their actual their channels.
Yes, and looking forward to like a partnership with a distribution company is ideal as well.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and oh, that's awesome. And one last question is, how many musicians you want to get on the platform before you launch for users to be able to download this app and listen to music?
That's a great question.
So we want to have at least 1,000 before like soft launch, which is going to be,
right.
Obviously soft launch is going to be the free version between like $4.99 version, because
the tiers it'll happen over time. Our final plan would be $9.99 a month. We wouldn't want to ever max out that. If anything, we go back down, but we want to gradually rise to that. So initially, yeah, like ideally 500 to 1,000 artists on there just for the region, Austin itself, or Texas and surrounding states itself.
Yeah. So and that opening per region is going to be a big part of that as well. Like we've talked with companies like Black Fret actually, and like with potential partnerships with them to actually get the musicians that they've gathered for Austin specific or Seattle, and again catering to that region is
it's kind of like fighting the good fight together. They harbor all variety of artists, independent and signed artists, but they really have a push for the independent acts and a push for just independence in general. So beginning in Austin, maybe following them to Seattle, and just traveling around until we hit every city with the same blueprint and maybe alter it along the way.
Cool.
Who knows what will happen? Thank you. Yes, sir.
And speaking of Black Fret, that's going to have to bring up Mr. Greg.
Okay.
Greg, let's see what questions you might have.
Yeah, thanks. Well, I look forward to talking to you guys outside of this pitch conference.
Me too.
Yes.
I can't wait, Greg.
We saw you. We're like, oh my
late.
god,
Yep.
this is like
Yeah. So
awesome.
I run the virtual concert program for Black Fret that we've been doing since the beginning of the pandemic. So I'd love to talk to you a little bit about some of the lessons learned we had. Trying to solve the same problem as you guys are.
Absolutely.
I think I guess one of my questions, I've got two and they're totally different. So I'm going to going to steal a second question. The first one is about your launch strategy. So I can understand the 9 cities and trying to get critical mass, but it also makes launch a lot harder. So if you considered trying to pick, one region that has a high saturation. I mean, Austin's an obvious choice, but so could be New York or LA or someplace like that to try to get critical mass and get yourself into the market.
Yeah. So, I mean, like we said, Austin is our initial blueprint. So that is our strategy: is start with one city and expand on that. And then
the farthest we'd stretch was Houston and up to Dallas. We just you get so lucky with the string of music that happens right here. So it's it's just a good landing to do.
Yeah.
But as far as so that would kind of minuscule it in a little bit and make it so it's not so overwhelming trying to launch. But for highlighting the cities, the hope is that we can collaborate with local artists and brands and just kind of awareness together.
And the marketing strategy really is more of like like we're saying, getting that customer acquisition cost down, because it's really about awareness, so that when we do reach that city, when we do reach that city, it's just going to be that much easier to get those artists and musicians on it.
Okay, that makes good sense. And the second question is related to your product development. So it wasn't clear to me looking at the phases. When do you build the app? When do you
so
get to MVP?
Yeah. So LaunchPeer, he mentioned LaunchPeer is actually a company, which is what we're going to use the Kickstarter funding for. They build with no equity, no equity that you pay them. They build like a very it's a minimal, they call it. So you can actually sell the product to your customers, but it's very minimal. You build that, and they also get you to your first investor. So that's how we'll do that.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. And we have just enough time for one question from Fabi.
Yes. Hey, yeah. I'm just going to build on Greg's one. So on my own journey, actually had quite some tech providers that we went through in terms of when you build a product and the vision that you have of the design and what the product is going to do, and then the output that you're going to receive. So I was wondering, how well have you vetted, I think LaunchPeer was that you said that you're going to use. How have you chosen them, and how well have you vetted them? Because you seem very fixated on using them.
So it starts off being fixated on just the vision or having, like you said, that perfect view of what you expect it to be. First things first, let go of the perfect. That's what we learned the hard way and had people tell us the whole time, was that it's never going to be the result you want initially and maybe ever. So as far as LaunchPeer goes, they're somewhat local to where we are now in North Carolina.
South Carolina. Yeah,
they're in South Carolina, and we're comfortable with them. We've had many conversations. It's not something that jumped. We've just had a lot of discussions, which, if we've had various discussions with other designers and programmers, and it just seemed like family. It seemed right. It seemed closer to home, and maintain ownership. So that spoke our language, basically.
Yeah. That's great. I'd love to share some thoughts offline, but that sounds really great. Congrats.
I'd love
Thank
to
you so much. Thank you.
Well, offline it'll have to be, because we are out of time. But thank you so much to Uni Streaming. Y'all are fantastic.
Thank you. You've been a great host.
Oh, thank you. And last but certainly not least, we've got Workwear Workshop with the founder, Ryan Matthews Wright, coming to join us. Once he's here, I'm out. Make sure the tag is working before I just go.
Hello. Greetings, and congrats to all the other pitchers in this competition. Very inspiring work. Let me get myself started here. So, Workwear Workshop wants to put your clothes to work. Workwear Workshop repairs, upcycles, and sells clothing that would otherwise go to waste. Our product line focus is durable denim, high-quality workwear, and fashionable outerwear. We have big goals like mending communities through clothing donations, waste reduction, and education. We want to alter the constructs of our clothing and alter social constructs to democratize fashion and change how society addresses issues like poverty and pollution. By upcycling fashionable clothes, we can upcycle the fashion industry into one that serves a triple bottom line of environmental, social, and economic impact. Problem: clothing is going to waste. We generate tons and tons of textile waste every year in the United States. A lot of it goes into the trash. What isn't dumped is burned. Donations that don't sell in thrift stores are often downcycled to products like rags and insulation, or put back on ships to be exported to other countries. Another big problem is that people right here need clothes now. Over 125,000 people in our community cannot afford a new pair of jeans. So how are we going to solve these problems? We need to get these discarded jeans into the hands of those who need them the most. Workwear Workshop sources clothing at the lowest possible cost and presents them where their highest potential value can be utilized best. We can provide a full spectrum of workwear products to maximize our demographic reach and our ability to process a wide range of feedstock. These product tiers represent the amount of processing effort and resulting cost of production for an article of clothing, which determines the price point at which we aim to sell it. Most used clothing does not require extensive repairs, so the majority of our throughput will be in the two lowest tiers of production, Tier 1 resale and Tier 2 patch and mend. As we gain traction and develop our production process, we can grow our offerings into higher price points with limited editions and custom creations. So Tier 1 resale is undamaged jeans and ready-to-work wear, donated or sold at low prices. The challenge here is reducing processing costs to remain competitive with thrift store prices, which is about $8 for a pair of jeans, and donations may be the best use. Patch and mend, Tier 2, is minimally damaged jeans and workwear, creatively repaired and reinforced for hard work, sold at affordable boutique and vintage store prices. We'll focus on a demographic of ethical consumers who want to help solve these problems of pollution and poverty. And Workwear Workshop aims to include all 5 of these ways to make the fashion industry more sustainable into our process. And that starts with one of the essential target markets of secondhand apparel consumers. More people are buying used products each year. Attitudes about secondhand clothing are changing for the better across the age spectrum, with younger generations accelerating the trend. As on-location apparel shopping returns, it's a great opportunity to work with local resale businesses, but foot traffic is still limited as we proceed through the pandemic, and many brands like Goodwill are thriving in the online resale space. These companies are succeeding in various segments of the used clothing market, and they can be valuable partners as we scale our operation, especially those marketplaces that support independent sellers. Turning to our roadmap, here's where we are now. During pandemic lockdown, I refined the concept for this business and the product line, learned how to sew, and created prototypes. I continually research this market, including the companies that can provide feedstock, charities and thrift stores to partner with, competitors, opportunities, as well as the histories and trends of the fashion industry, especially workwear and streetwear. Having never done this before, though, I do need help in various areas, and this is how the prizes of this competition would be put to work. Mentorship for guidance on how to build a startup and create a legal business entity, dialing in the business plan for those production costs and price points, and securing capital to invest in equipment and hire staff to get this operation running. As we go to market, our focus should be online sales and brand awareness with a small team of apparel and content producers. We can hook into the various used clothing marketplaces across the internet while creating social media advertising content that establishes our brand. When we're ready to grow beyond seed phase, we'll hire a larger team to scale our output, launch a branded e-commerce site, and secure a production facility as headquarters to scale and meet our goals. To wrap up, I'd like to thank you for joining me today and ask if you'd like to help accomplish these goals. We need to eliminate millions of tons of fabric waste. We need to donate clothing to people who can't afford it. We can do that through artfully repairing damaged clothing, creating high fashion and luxury streetwear, and ultimately selling all that high quality workwear. In the process, we'll raise awareness of and help to solve the social, environmental, and economic issues of our time. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Ryan. While I'm waiting for Audie to come up with a question, I have a two-parter for you.
Okay.
Are you in front of a real or a virtual background?
I'm from a real background.
Okay, that jacket, not that one, not that one, the other one, the one with the red. Yeah, I'm in love with that jacket.
Thanks.
It's not really a question, it's a comment.
It's definitely a fun jacket.
Oh, it's fantastic. All right, Audie, go ahead with your question.
Yeah, my question is how much for the jacket? I'm just kidding. No, killer background. Just to clarify, is how are you sourcing your materials? I didn't quite understand whether like Goodwill's a competitor because a lot of people donate to Goodwill, or are you actually buying the materials and clothing from them?
Right, it's actually both. The Goodwill outlet sells clothing for $1 a pound. And so that's basically the maximum price that we want to spend on our workwear is about $1 a pound. But there's also the used clothing market. There's brokers. A lot of them are based in Houston. There's one in San Antonio that can sell it by the ton for about 40 cents a pound and up. So that's kind of the range of the feedstock costs.
Wow. Okay. Awesome. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Up next, Greg. And I think there's already been some interest in that jacket, by the way. So if you have a small option here, I think it will go quite successfully.
Yeah, very, very cool business concept. I'm particularly impressed with sort of the multifaceted value proposition to, be profitable as a business, but at the same time be benefiting, social and environmental causes. So kudos to you. I guess my question is, where are you in the journey at this point? I see examples of the clothing sitting behind you, but how far have you gone in terms of proving out, the viability of the business?
Right. It's definitely still in concept phase. I've contacted local charities to inquire about their donation programs, and that's how I would be looking to facilitate these donations is through charities that already are doing that work. And so it really is just still a concept phase. I've kind of done these prototypes to figure out ways to fix damaged clothing in various ways, and just a lot of kind of prospecting and ideation for validating these concepts.
Cool. Thanks.
Mm-hmm.
Baby, I bet you've got a question. Just perfect. What you got?
Can you all hear me? There you go. Congrats on the business. It's a fantastic mission, and I think some of the attendees have also commented it's kind of amazing doing that with fashion. So kudos to you. One of the things I've seen there in the to-dos is actually incorporation of the business, right?
Right.
Have you ever thought about incorporating it as a B Corp? Have you heard about that before?
Yeah, absolutely. That would be one of the goals. Although I'm not well versed in LLCs and nonprofits and C Corps and all that. So, and any of those could be a B Corp from my understanding of those guidelines. And so maybe there's multiple brands involved. Maybe there's a nonprofit that kind of overarches all these to facilitate these different product tier brands. But definitely being a B Corp would be great and very, very much in line with our goals.
Yeah. Very quickly, where do you see yourself in 5 years? Where do you see yourself that this goes?
This in 5 years, I would imagine we'd be expanding into another city that has a similar demographic of charities and feedstock sources and a fashion scene. But we would be growing through and out of Austin using the local resale businesses as well as the seasonal events like ACL and South by Southwest, Pecan Street Fair, to set up on location like pop-up shops, doing product drops, and kind of even subverting the fashion industry to really put more hype on our donation program than and basically donating high fashion clothes versus standard typical fashion shows.
Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you.
And last but not least, Sophia. I do see one audience question so far too, so if we have time, we'll definitely ask it. If you have any others, feel free to submit them while Sophia asks her question. And unmutes herself, which she has not done yet, and she's asking it while muted. There we go.
There we go. Very well done. Like everyone else said, it's an incredible mission and one that I really hope can get solved in my lifetime. Before I ask my question, I just want to make sure I understand your tiers correctly. So from tier one is essentially the easiest to facilitate. It's just a straight reselling all the way down to high-end upcycling. Is that correct?
Correct. Yeah.
And do you, my apologies if I missed this in your pitch, but are you planning to launch all 4 tiers at the same time, or is this something you're going to work up to?
Most likely working up to, given that kind of once we tap into that giant tonnage of clothing, and then most of it will not require repairs. That's going to be the biggest challenge, is just dealing with that throughput and finding buyers and finding people to donate these clothing to. And so as we kind of build up that stock and validate the products tiers 1 and 2, then we can start getting creative with our designs and investing in more of that kind of personal owned brand of clothing that we'll create ourselves.
Okay. And so when Uptown Cheapskate doesn't accept like 70% of my clothes, do I send them to you?
Yes, I would love to have a donation acceptance program where we will take any and all textiles.
Perfect. Got to find something to do with them.
All right.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Well, on that note about different textiles, what's inspired you toward denim versus other clothing materials?
I don't know. It's weird. I'm just kind of in love with denim and workwear and uniforms and the stories that they kind of contain within their wear, and they can last through generations and become heirloom pieces. So I'm just kind of fascinated by all of it in terms of the history of denim and how it's just kind of an American icon.
That's awesome. We got one more from the audience. It's getting a lot of upvotes submitted by Mary Gray. Have you thought of partnering with Mobile Loaves and Fishes to help support their community involvement to get homeless jobs?
I would love to do that. I have not reached out to them, but absolutely, it's totally in line with what we'd like to do.
Awesome. Sounds like a great thing to get on next. I mean, learning to sew and then, then take over small steps. Yeah. Anybody on question? Because we've got a little bit of time. Okay. We've got precisely 1 minute. So if anybody has a question, now's your chance to get it in there. Otherwise, I'm just going to tell a joke while I wait a second. What kind of pants does Mario wear? You should know this one, man. You're going to you're going to know why in a second. You ready for me to tell you?
Yeah.
Denim, denim, denim. All right. So, as I bought us a couple of times to get couple of minutes to get that question in, can you speak a little bit more about the top tiers?
The top tiers like 3 and 4. So all artful alterations basically means basically this without the patches. I took this 80s jacket that was very much oversized and not to my style, and I cut it down into a silhouette that I preferred. And I added these Wrangler jean pockets on the front, which you may not be able to see all that well, but I added giant pockets on the front and oversized shoulder, or rather elbow patches to really reinforce it and make it more utilitarian. And then the luxury stuff would be more of like embellishments, custom work, and new items created exclusively from scrap fabrics, probably vests and blazers and that type of workwear, chore coats that would be created from scraps.
That's awesome. Well, we are out of time, but thank you for a
Thank you so much.
presentation. Everybody loved it. Thank you so much. Oh, this is going to be such a hard decision that all of you are going to have to make here in a couple of minutes when we get to texting time. So I recognize the challenge before you. We've had amazing presentations from Rough Cut Comedy, Unravel Hair, Uni Streaming, Workwear Workshop. It has been fascinating to see the ways in which you can gain back a lot of your time with Unravel, ways that you can go and spend it with Rough Cut Comedy and Uni Streaming, and then fantastic ways that we can be saving the universe and upcycling our fashion simultaneously. And now, I don't know if I gave enough time, but presumably I gave enough time. Should be time to cast your vote. We're going to give you about 2 minutes to submit your text vote for the Austin Fast Start Creatives winner. Again, choose wisely, think long and hard, but not too hard because you have 2 minutes to do so. So look on your screen now for the number to text. If you want Rough Cut Comedy to win, text a 1. If you'd like Unravel Hair to win, text a 2. Uni Streaming, text 3. Workwear Workshop, text 4. The number is on your screen, but to be a completist, I'll go ahead and read it to you. 512-823-0594. Got a couple of minutes. Get those texts in. Okay. As we are waiting for our audience vote and judges' scores to finalize, let's take a moment to say thank you to our Austin Fast Start Creatives prize package sponsors. This prize package was carefully created to support early stage startups as they work to successfully launch their business. It includes, drum roll please, you can see it on the screen, but I'm still going to be dramatic. I want a drum roll. Oh, I did my own and then I just messed up my screen. I should not do my own drum roll. Okay, a $2,500 cash prize from the city of Austin. The golden ticket package from Capital Factory. 3-month cohort experience with the Inc. Financial or HR consultation, apparently you can choose, from VCFO. Marketing startup package from Honeycomb. 1 ticket to the 2021 Global Roundup Conference by 3-day startup. And an annual corporate membership to the Austin Young Chamber. Thank you, prize package sponsors. Okay, we're almost ready to see who takes home the prize. Not just yet, almost ready. However, please join me in welcoming Jacqueline Mayo with the City of Austin's Economic Development Department Small Business Program to share a few words, and she gets the pleasure of announcing our winner. Jacqueline.
Hi, Ashlyn. Thank you. You've been a fantastic host this evening. Thank you very much, everybody. And thank you guys for coming on, for watching. Appreciate you. Good evening. Good evening. To our pitchers tonight, fabulous work. You guys are awe-inspiring. This is our 4th and final one for the season. And what better way to end it than with creatives and figuring out what we can do for them. And you guys' work from Zan, I don't know how many times or how many hours it's taken me to take down my braids, but I'll be looking for your product sometime soon. And I have lots of clothes that I could probably donate to you as well. And the uni streaming, I'm looking forward to that. And I just can't wait to get to a comedy club. It's been a month on a Sunday before I went there. As you know, the Small Business Program, we're a division of the Economic Development Department. Our job is to foster job creation and to get all of our businesses trained up so that they are prepared and ready to go, either start or grow and take your business to the next level. We offer training, educational training classes in marketing, social media, financing, business taxes. There was some mention about a B Corp, so we have a determine your business structure. And these classes are all free or very low cost. And so you can actually register for them on our website at www.smallbizaustin.org and take a look at what you got. Take a look at what we have. We are all partners in this big economic development project. Your success is our success, and we want to equip you and make sure that you are a success. And so with the partnerships that we have created in the community, I want to thank Austin Young Chamber, who has been a fantastic partner with us over the last several years as they host Austin Fast Start, as well as exploring entrepreneurship panels. You guys have made this partnership all worthwhile. And we look forward to our continued partnership as we move forward. I'm getting a ding. I'm sure you guys hearing my phone go off, which tells me we have a winner. If I can only type in my passcode to get into my phone, I will let you guys know who we have. Again, thank you everyone for your great pitches. Thank you for everyone who joined us live and in our chat. Thank you for those questions. Ashlyn, you did a fantastic job. Thank you to our judges. Thank you for the time that you gave in scoring and just reviewing and participating. And with that, I'd like to congratulate everyone again, but we'd like to congratulate Unravel Hair as our Creative Fast Start winner pitch competition today. Yay! Everybody, let's have some hands for Unravel. Congratulations.
Thank you. I appreciate this. I really do.
Again, I can't wait because I'm about to get knotless box braids. So I'm going to need somebody to get those suckers out. Congratulations.
Thank you so much. And congratulations to all the other finalists. Everybody did a great job.
Congratulations. Don't go anywhere yet. No, cameras stay. You don't go off with your cameras yet. And in fact, judges, can I get you to hop on really quickly? Real quickly. They're probably going to take a photo. That's usually why they want everybody to come back on together. All right. And we're going to do a fun. Do I have everybody? No. How many do I have? There's 4 judges. 4 judges. Yes, yes, yes. Okay. Looks like the gang's all here. 3, 2, 1. Smile, obviously. 3, 2, 1. Yeah. And everybody, give your massive congratulations. Everybody did a phenomenal job this evening. In fact, thank you to all the judges, to our finalists, and our attendees for joining us tonight. Applications are still open, by the way, for our final Austin Fast Start of 2021, unless this was because you just said the final one. Maybe that's outdated. Maybe there's still more. I don't know. Probably find it by going to the website, though. If you know a startup who should apply, send them to the Austin Young Chamber website. Remember, it's Austin YC for more information and to apply. And now it's time for networking. The platform will stay open until 7:30 p.m. Once we close out of the presentation, you'll see a floor plan with tables and chairs. Just double click on a table to chat with the other attendees at the table. You'll be able to turn on your camera and microphone using toggle buttons at the bottom of your screen. If you have any technical issues, please send a private chat message to Austin Young Chamber and they will help you troubleshoot. Thank you all again for joining us, and stay tuned to our website and social channels for more great programs. And let's do a final round of applause for everybody. They worked so hard. Okay, go enjoy networking. Have a blast. Thanks for coming.